I thought of our relationship, when I thought of your relationship to me, I thought of the molecule of hydrogen. How you were afraid of me, but also how you were obsessed with me. And although you always kept your distance, you were always revolving around me. And when we finally, eventually fused together, you were like a hydrogen bomb, forcing me to push everyone I loved away, forcing me to hurt everyone close to me. And that is when I snapped and lost it. Because I couldn't let you use me like this. I couldn't let you cause me so much destruction. I couldn't let everything I valued be destroyed. I know it was a basic attraction with us, but although you might not have liked it, I think it was better when you just kept your distance. The train just left. For the 2012 Poetry Bomb stop. This, from the periodic table of poetry, is a poem about helium. So, because of NATO, and because of a world summit that's going to be going on at McCormick Place, we couldn't have the camera going on the tracks. Nope. So, well, I'm walking along here for a few of the tracks. Since I started doing this, I might as well walk along by the tracks and read pieces at the street. So, I'm going to go and read that number 2 from the periodic table. This is Helium. I couldn't help it. I was attracted to you. You elevated me. You seemed so content, so light, and when I saw you, you looked so hot, like a solar flare. Whenever I see you outside, I feel you penetrate my pores every single day. But I didn't realize that outside like this, we were never truly alone. But being near you made me giddy. I'd even raise my voice whenever you come near me. But only now I learn that even though you're hot, you're colder than anything I've ever touched. So maybe it wasn't your heat that drew me to you. But I think you're unique. But you tell me that you're common, even though you're still so hard to find. I'd have to search the universe for you just to realize that you're not as special as you led me to believe. So, I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. You have this effect on me whenever you come to me like this. I'm always so tense, but with your low boiling point and the way you connect with me, you've calmed me down and shown me a new perspective. Because of this, I've avoided the fact that we don't really mix well together. Either way, I still hoped you could help me. I mean, you can make me feel like I can fly when I'm with you. I just have to remember that even though every once in a while I can literally breathe you in, a few seconds later, you're gone. Number 3 from the periodic table of poetry, and it's called Lithium. And no, I mentioned no Nirvana song. This is Lithium. I know I needed you around me. I was desperate. I know I wanted you in my life to calm me down. I know I needed you to stop me from my manic episodes. They told me it's not an addiction I have with you. But then they told me that if I broke away with you altogether, I would just cycle back to my old psychotic, unhealthy ways. So please, don't tell me I'm crazy. but I just couldn't stand being me. I wanted to calm down. I was desperate for you. I wanted to feel normal again. You were the one to calm me down. But the thing is, you were the one that was also supposed to help me with my poor judgment and my aggression. Because when I was with you, I felt like my blood was on fire. With you, I couldn't even eat anymore. I felt dizzy with you. I felt tremors and twitching. You made me unsteady. On the surface, you seemed soft to me, with your silver white hair. With your lightness, I forgot how metallic you were when we joined. And now look what we've become. When we finally got together, when we fused together, when we were finally able to take each other in, we became the source for the most violent explosion. We became a part of a preordained cycle I couldn't escape. We became radioactive and caused something so unstable that we destroyed everything we had. You helped me destroy everything that was me. Just so you know, this property is protected by video surveillance. They're watching you. I figured I might as well be here if I've got the L tracks roaring over me, so I might have to stop if a train comes running over me, since they won't let me film on the train. This is a longer piece. It's called Carbon. Actually, that's number 6. I'm very happy. It's Carbon. I used to see the magazine ads and the TV commercials, and I was taught that what I was taught was that a big busted blonde was all I could aspire to be. So I would dye my hair so I could act the dumb blonde. I could still beat them at any mind games, but men don't like to hear the truth and have it shoved down their faces because they refuse to believe anything that doesn't stroke their ego. So yeah, I was a carbon copy of what the media shoved down America's throats. And yeah, as time went on, the dark-haired women started to gain a little popularity back, but they still had to be anorexically thin, and they still had to battle the notion of all men still adoring the dumb blonde. And yeah, as the years wore on, I didn't have to dye my hair, but I still had to be thin. And I still had to be a carbon copy of that dark-haired, gaunt, soulless face that was always plastered on billboards, papers, and screens. I passed the magazine stands, see carbon copies of the models on multiple magazine covers. I passed the media store with rows and stacks of repeated TV screens, showing carbon copies to the world of what we're supposed to be. I don't want to be a carbon copy of anything. I want my own thoughts, my own ideas, and I want to spill them out for the entire world to read and hear. But carbon copy or not, I end up resigned, knowing that despite our differences, we are all carbon-based life forms. I mean, when scientists look for life on other planets, they always only look for water first. Well, sure, hydrogen, oxygen, life as we know it needs it, I get it. But carbon-based life forms are all we know. I mean, whether or not they have arms or legs or gills or a mouth or a brain, they all have carbon in common. So when I see the atrocities mankind causes, when I see Adolf Hitler, the vegetarian artist wannabe, when I see Adolf Hitler collecting the cult followers to systematically slaughter millions, When I see the stacks of skin and bone emaciation, stacks of bodies in ditches or in rooms stacked in a pyramid with a small hole for air in the ceiling after their final shower. When I see the Pope visit Cuba and wear a sombrero. When I see chickens crammed into rows of cages they cannot move in for their eggs, for their flesh. And when I see rows of prepackaged, barely recognizable cow flesh wrapped in cellophane, row after row in the grocery store. Despite everything, and as much as I hate to admit it, we are not all that different. I mean, if nothing else, we are all carbon-based life forms. It's raining out. I have to save my highest number from the periodic table for my last one along here. It makes me sad. See if I can go to another place and read something. I don't know. But this is number 83, the periodic table. And it's radon. Went to Austria, to the Gastein Curative Tunnel, where the ambient temperature was close to 100 degrees and humidity was almost 80%. And the natural tunnel also contained a shocking amount of radon in the air. Now, I know the EPA reports that radon exposure in the home can lead to up to 20,000 lung cancer deaths per year. And you know, I kind of don't want to get lung cancer. But the Gastein Curative Tunnel in the Hohe-Tauern Mountains was first explored through Mine for Gold, but they noticed the extreme heat and humidity there. But then they noticed that the mine workers with rheumatic problems were getting better when there, and they all had more energy. After discovering the radon in the air, they found that staying in the tunnel for certain lengths of time helped their ailments. So the radon in the air helped make their body heal itself. I mean, people today still use the tunnel for curing assorted ailments, so I thought, one visit won't give me lung cancer. It might be something I could try. So I went to the Radhausberg tunnels, wore a swimsuit, and rested in the tunnel for 45 minutes in silence with other attendants. From breathing training, I tried to take deep, long breaths as I lay in that tunnel to get all the air I could to soak in as much radon as possible. I saw someone opening and closing their hands while they were laying in the Gastein Curative Tunnel. It made me wonder if it could help my hands from typing so much on my computer. Yeah, I was dripping wet from the heat and the humidity, and I drank a ton of water. But it was probably cool to travel 4,700 miles to defy the EPA and overload myself for once with some toxic radiation.